We're back to the BFI IMAX Glass Palace again for another spectacular 1570 IMAX presentation, and this time it's Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. This film was immediately one of the best quality 4K discs when it was released, so I took another look at it to see how well it stands up to a genuine IMAX screening. There are three separate but interweaving stories in this film, and each are told within their own different time capsule that can cause some confusion. The sequence around the beach and the mole used to evacuate the troops takes place over the course of a week. The events at sea are over the course of a day, and the air all within just 1 hour. Being mainly shot in the enormous 1570mm IMAX format means some was also shot standard 70mm, mainly for dialogue sequences. At the IMAX, the standard 70mm scenes were not 2.20 to 1 as they are on 4K disc, so optically enlarged to probably 190 to 1 or 178 to 1 to minimise the obvious aspect ratio shift when they appear. The 4K disc displays the genuine IMAX sequences in the cropped 178 to 1 ratio, and so the standard 70mm is left at 2.20 to 1. There is increased noticeable image quality degradation at the IMAX within these optically enlarged sequences, but possibly only 15 minutes of the total 1 hour and 46 minutes running time. Watching the 4K disc the day after seeing the film in IMAX does make it clear how vastly superior the film print is, but we have to bear in mind I'm using domestic video projectors here, whereas a top cinema video projector would undoubtedly produce better results. On both my home video projectors I had to turn the HDR down a little to get the best out of it. Now this will vary from system to system, so check it on yours before sitting down to enjoy the film. Sound is 5.1 and excellent, but forget about competing with a 6-track IMAX sound at the BFI IMAX because it's in a whole other league. The whole setting and impression at the BFI IMAX tells you that you are in for something special, and to help with the making of this video I asked Dan and Mara here to lead the way up the stairs to the auditorium just to give us that human interest as we make our way into that glorious auditorium. Every step of the way the quality of this place is palpable. The design and use of lighting is remarkable, and the happy, friendly staff are the finishing touch. Just when you think it couldn't get any better, you enter that magnificent auditorium. When there's a large audience in, you feel like something special is about to reveal itself on screen, and Dunkirk certainly does not disappoint. What to me on 4K disc at home was a very good film suddenly became a masterpiece as a 1570 print on the 85-foot wide IMAX screen unveiled itself. That film format is in a league of its own, and if you haven't seen Dunkirk in 1570 IMAX, then you really haven't seen it at all. The soundtrack is almost equally sensational, with a punch to it that hits you in the chest at times. The visuals too, they can have you almost falling out of your seat following the Spitfires, while the bullets and explosions can have you ducking for cover. The pounding score by Hans Zimmer perfectly keeps the tension on, and there is minimal dialogue to detract from the events unfolding on screen. Just before the very end, the soundtrack went quiet, and I could just about hear that wonderful projector quietly drumming in the background. This was cinema as it used to be when it was exciting and a special occasion. But do I still recommend the 4K disc? Yes, I certainly do. It's one of the best available, and it's one of the best because it largely originated on IMAX 1570 film, and the rest of it was standard 2.20 to 170mm film. It doesn't get any better than that today, and that is why this is one of the very best discs available. So just keep in mind when you're watching it that however astounding it may look in your home, whether you're video projecting it or watching it on a large screen television, there is actually something better available out there, and that is IMAX 1570 film, and it is so superior. Well, next up for me at the BFI IMAX will be Interstellar. Now, this is a film that's going the same way as 2001: A Space Odyssey, whereby if you ever screen it anywhere at a cinema in its original format, in the case of 2001 it was 70mm film, but in the case of Interstellar it's even better, it's 1570 IMAX film. If a cinema ever screens it in that format, you are likely to sell out that auditorium. And what happened at the BFI was that there were 2 screenings announced. Both of them sold out fairly quickly, and so I was one of those people badgering them for a 3rd screening because I'd failed to get decent tickets when it was first announced, and that 3rd screening has now sold out too. So it's going to be difficult to get tickets for this one if you don't have them already, but you never know, keep an eye on the BFI IMAX website. They may release another screening of it, and nab a ticket quickly if they do, because this is one of those films that's almost like a religious experience to look at on that enormous IMAX screen. It really is something truly, truly special. And whatever you think of science fiction, this one is just a visual masterpiece. Even if you don't care for the science fiction aspect of it, it's just so beautiful to look at. And there are indeed the similarities to 2001. So understandable how this one has gone. And Clark Teddles in Australia tells me that the IMAX at Melbourne has announced a screening of this film Interstellar in April 2023, just before Oppenheimer is released, which is what this retrospective is all about, and that sold out within an hour of the tickets being released. So if you get a chance to see this one anywhere in genuine IMAX, don't hang about, just grab a ticket, worry about how you're going to get there later. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and perhaps consider subscribing so I'll be encouraged to carry on creating content like this. Until the next video, bye bye for now.